You ever looked at your team and felt that there's so much untapped potential? Think about what could happen if every team member brought their very best to the table, pushing your team to new levels of success. Welcome to the ZIZO Effect podcast. Today, we're breaking down what it takes to turn a good team into an outstanding one. This season, we've heard from industry experts, leaders, and those on the front lines, all sharing what it really means to lead effectively. We've covered everything from building strong cultures to making feedback more impactful. And today, you'll get some of the best insights from each conversation. So grab a notebook, find a comfortable spot, and let's dive in. Trust me, you'll want to take notes because today's episode is packed with strategies you can start using right away. So get ready. It's game time. First up, let's talk about culture, the real backbone of any performing team. We had two guests who gave us incredible insights on this. Danny Gerbray, a recruiter turned entrepreneur, and David Black, a collections manager with over 20 years of experience. Their stories reveal what it really takes to build a culture that supports every team member. Danny sees culture as the heartbeat of an organization, not just something that's nice to have, but the essential force that shapes how people feel, work, and succeed. In high turnover environments like call centers, he pointed out that this heartbeat becomes even more critical. When the culture is strong and clear, it provides a steady foundation for the team, even in chaotic times.
Culture is the heartbeat of the organization. It's how the organization runs, it's how they operate, it's what they believe in, and the culture generally starts from the top.
Building on this idea, David shared his approach to culture, which he calls fun but focused. His method balances high expectations with genuine care, creating a dynamic where accountability and empathy go hand in hand.
The culture at National Recovery Solutions is a fun, low-stress culture where we challenge each other to be the best version of ourselves daily. Everyone helps each other. As leaders, we set the tone by maintaining commonly shared interests of the company and our employees as well.
Managing a remote team, David relies on frequent check-ins and clear metrics to ensure everyone feels connected and aligned with the bigger picture. He believes that these consistent touchpoints are essential for remote teams to feel like they're part of something bigger than themselves.
I think it's very important because sometimes in a chat, you may have someone that doesn't understand the communication, but they may not want to express that in the chat. So sometimes a follow-up call will help that misunderstanding or whatever the issue that they may have. I make sure that, hey, did you look at the chat? Did you see what needs to be done? Any questions? Yes, no, and then move on to the next employee.
Oh, so you're touching base with every single one of your agents.
Absolutely. Just having a simple conversation a lot of times with your employees throughout the day will give you a determinant factor if there is an issue, if there's distractions.
One of the key takeaways is that Danny and David's insights remind us that culture is the heartbeat of any organization, keeping teams grounded and motivated. It's up to us as leaders to keep that beat strong, balance expectations with empathy, and adapt to what drives each individual. As you think about your own team, ask yourself, are you tapping into what really motivates each person? How could you strengthen your team's culture with that knowledge? Looking for a quick win? This week, why don't you set aside 15 minutes with each team member and ask them what keeps them motivated? It's a small step with a very big impact. Next, let's dive into the power of trust and connection. A theme that came up in conversations with Christopher Cole, a retired banking executive and leadership consultant, and Brian Williams, a musician and call center agent. They both shared insights that highlight how small actions can create big changes in team dynamics. Chris believes that trust is built through small, consistent actions, like regular check-ins and showing up for your team in meaningful ways. Imagine a team where every member feels genuinely seen and valued because of these small intentional interactions.
The other challenge that people faced was they felt there was a disconnect between the time they spent with their employees. They wanted people that have more face time with them.
Mhm.
I actually have been managing remotely for years. So as I've always taught people that have been under me or people that have been my peers, I would say to them, the way you walk into the office every day and you say good morning to the person that's next to you, pick up the phone in the morning, just call the other person and say good morning. Ask them how they do. Doesn't have to be a long conversation, but if you make that connection every day, they feel like they're part of it.
Chris also emphasized the importance of direct face-to-face communication, even in a virtual role. He reminded us that face-to-face conversations build clarity and prevent misunderstandings, especially when you're leading remotely. It's these direct conversations that create a true sense of connection.
Even though an individual may think the only way they want to communicate is by text or email, oftentimes sole email or text communication creates issues because they may misinterpret what you're asking or what you're saying. They take a defensive position, and again, it impacts their productivity. So I've always taken a position of we can communicate by email and we can communicate texting, but we are going to have a 1 hour one-on-one meeting every week. And oftentimes we would have discussions for a half hour several times a week because they wanted to talk about stuff. So it actually came the opposite way, where I made the time for them to talk to me.
Brian shared how autonomy and trust go hand in hand. Balancing his life as a musician and a call center agent, he described a culture of trust where he's given the freedom to manage his own workflow without constant oversight. Now, if you're getting your work done, no one's on your back, he explained. That freedom not only builds trust, but keeps him engaged and motivated. What is the most positive aspect of the culture that you guys have cultivated?
I think the lack of micromanaging is a huge part of it. Giving us the responsibility to do our jobs well, and our bosses to have the confidence in doing that job without, having to audit our files all the time. I mean, sometimes, yeah, it does happen. And like you'll see a dip in numbers or a dip in production. You got to find out, you got to zoom in, but like the truth is like having that freedom, I think is a huge part of the culture of why we only have 9 collectors.
Okay.
And, we put up huge numbers.
Yeah.
And there's not much maintenance, I think, from the up top to have to like get us to do that.
Great takeaway from this is that Chris and Brian's stories shows that trust, connection, and autonomy aren't just nice to haves. They're foundational to creating a team that feels supported and motivated to perform at its best. So when was the last time that you had a one-on-one check-in with your team? And is there room to let some of your team members manage their own workflow? This week, give your team a bit more freedom to manage their work and add a few quick check-ins. These small actions build trust and make a big difference in engagement. Empathy and engagement, 2 qualities that make a workplace truly supportive. This was a central theme in conversations with Negra Tatundik, employee engagement team lead at Wayfair, and Greg Stenzel, VP of operations at AARS, who both shared meaningful ways to bring these values to life. Negra shared how at Wayfair, empathy is at the core of their people-centered culture. It's not just about recognizing what employees accomplish, but understanding the unique challenges and strengths they bring to work each and every day. This genuine understanding is what makes employees feel truly valued.
Sometimes saying thank you isn't enough. Like, be more specific. Really be genuine with what you're recognizing this person did, because people can see right through a template, boilerplate. Thank you so much for your help. Like some of the trainings, for example, or some of the resources that we develop for our recognition programs is how to write a quality nomination. And those tips and pointers included in those trainings are: be empathetic, showcase what the impact of this person's contribution actually did, help you meet your project goals in this way. And I think empathy is just an important ingredient in recognition. It's not the only ingredient, but I think knowing actually what it took that person to do that above and beyond behavior and empathizing with that makes recognition that much stronger.
One example she gave was Wayfair's Moments That Matter program, which goes beyond the typical job well done approach. It's about personalized, meaningful acknowledgments for those moments when employees go the extra mile, whether they helped a colleague or showed exceptional dedication. When people feel appreciated for who they are, and how they contribute, they become more invested in a team and its success.
We have a monthly program called Moments That Matter. It gives frontline managers access to gift cards, swag, gifts, whatever they would like to personalize for their team member who maybe just got a new dog or is moving into a new house. We work with them to make sure that they know that these resources are available to them and the right way to use it to create those deeper, trusting, personal connections and culture on their team.
Greg shared a guiding principle. Our people take care of us, so we take care of them. This mindset shapes their approach to recognition and well-being. Greg's team incorporates practices like structured brain breaks and the Platinum Club, a recognition program that highlights individual contributions and moments of going above and beyond. These practices show team members they're valued not only for their productivity, but also for their unique energy and commitment they bring to the workplace.
We try to get people up. We do brain breaks where, every 45 minutes, everyone stands up and does a stretch or silly things like that. We try to get people outside in the summertime. Every time you get a payment or something like that, go outside and walk around the building. We try to make it so that way there's value on the seat itself and they know the value is there and they want to be in that seat. They don't want to lose their seat because of the value of being in that seat. We established something a while back called the Platinum Club, and it's based for goal hitters, right? It's based for people that do well and they perform. If you come to work every day, not even every day, if you come to work and you hit your budget, you hit your numbers, you're allowed to take a cigarette break every 45 minutes. You can go outside, have your ciggy, come back in, whatever. Go outside, check your cell phone real quick, whatever game you're playing up, whatever you want to do. So we try to promote that for people that are doing well as far as being able to have that luxury or freedom to go have a smoke whenever you want. They take care of us, so we take care of them.
A key takeaway here from Negra and Greg is that they remind us that empathy and thoughtful recognition create a sense of belonging that resonates beyond the daily task. It's about fostering a supportive culture where people feel truly seen and appreciated. As you think about your team, ask yourself, are you recognizing the unique value each person brings? How can you make that appreciation feel more personal and connected to who they are? If you're looking for a quick win, next time you recognize someone, make it specific and personal. Focus on how their unique contributions or positive energy have made a difference. Thoughtful acknowledgments like this can go a long way in fostering engagement and a sense of belonging. Now, let's talk about leadership. Jim Ayub, Chief Customer Officer at eTech, and Danica Braid, recruiter turned entrepreneur, shared powerful perspectives on what it means to lead effectively, especially when it comes to feedback and adapting to change. Jim's principle of servant leadership, taking care of others' needs before your own, is woven into the culture at eTech. They've even established a Dean of Leadership Development to ensure these values are lived daily. This dedication helps create an environment where leaders are genuinely invested in their team members' well-being and growth.
Culture, it's what are your principles and guiding principles? So fortunately for us, we think of a servant leadership mentality, right? So we have 12 character commitments. We have a Dean of Leadership Development. Her only job is to teach our leaders about culture and our 12 character commitments. And we come with taking care of the needs of others first, everything will fall into line. So my definition of culture would be defined as taking care of the needs of others before yourself. And that's what designs a great culture environment, which lets people talk transparently about things they like, things they don't like, and what you can do as an individual to help them, because it's beyond the answering phone calls.
Jim also shared his unique approach to hiring, will over skill. He believes that a person's drive and alignment with company values are often more valuable than technical skills. If you have the will, I can teach you the skills, he explained. This focus on drive over resumes can transform teams and boost morale.
I'll take will over skill any day, because if you have the will, I can teach you skills.
And when it comes to feedback, Jim cuts right to the point. Forget the sandwich method. For him, clear and direct feedback builds the trust and fosters growth. His approach creates an environment where everyone knows exactly where they stand.
we use a methodology called direct feedback model. So direct feedback model is literally being the ability to give people direct feedback. And typically for me, we're used to in the old days that sandwich theory. Talk about the positives, talk about the opportunities, end with the positives. I was never a big believer in that. We do direct feedback model. And more importantly, when you build the relationship with someone, they want the feedback direct.
Yep.
Tell me what I'm doing good. Tell me what I'm not doing good. And how can I improve it? And that's kind of why we rolled out that direct feedback model across our entire organization, to be able to communicate transparently with the opportunities and what you can do as an individual to obviously get better.
Danny emphasized that effective leadership today means evolving beyond the traditional one-size-fits-all management styles. He raised a vital question. Are they lazy, or are we not adapting to their needs? Today's leaders must understand the unique motivators across all generations. Gen Z values flexibility and purpose. Millennials seek growth and mentorship, and Gen Xers appreciate structure. By adapting to these needs, leaders can inspire strong engagement and performance across the board.
Generationally speaking, there's a new generation entering the workforce today, Gen Z. I'm sure
And we love them.
We do love them. We promote them all the time. We're advocates for them. It may come off as sounding critical, but they are unique. Gen Z is different. Do you see a difference from a work standpoint?
Yes, 100% with every single generation. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I think the issue is being able to evolve and being able to change. Like, a lot of my clients will use work from home, for example. Some people are just super against it. We don't want to work from home, this and that. But the reality of it is, you have to adapt to the way the world is now, what needs people have, what demands they have. So there definitely is a difference, just like there is individuals. There's very big generational gaps. And the clients I work with, the CEOs, the founders, they are, your generation, right? And then the people that I'm finding are typically
Gen Z,
millennials. So finding that balance and figuring out what makes sense and being able to evolve and grow and change what you're doing is super important, because again, you have to motivate your staff. You have to get them interested in it. So I always hear this generation's lazy, this, that. Are they lazy, or are we not adapting to their current needs?
Jim and Danny's insights remind us that servant leadership, valuing drive, and providing clear feedback are crucial to building resilient, adaptable teams. When thinking about your own team, ask yourself, when was the last time you gave clear, direct feedback? Are you adapting your leadership style to meet the diverse needs of each generation? If you're looking for a quick win, try Jim's direct feedback approach this week. Skip the fluff and focus on clarity, and see how it impacts trust and growth within your team. Before we wrap up, take a moment to consider what could be the impact if you put even one of these ideas into action. Picture the changes in your team's energy, focus, and success as you integrate these insights. Leadership is about small, consistent steps forward, and now you have the tools to make these steps count. Thanks for tuning into this look back at the first half of Season 2 of the ZIZO Effect podcast. We've covered powerful insights on culture, resilience, and leadership that go beyond theory. These are real tools that you can put to work. Think about which one of these strategies you'll try with your team this week. And if any of these insights resonated, go back and listen to the full episodes for more details. And don't forget to share your thoughts with us, or pass this episode along to someone who might find it valuable. Stay tuned for more insights, strategies, and conversations that drive results. And until next time, get ready, it's game time.